Story number 2, Disney drama. Yeah, this is gonna be yours to handle pretty much, but, there's some drama going on in the Disney house, and 2 Bobs are arguing, and the succession planning didn't go well, and we're not even talking about the HBO drama Succession, but it's a similar vibe, right?
Oh man, absolutely. Yeah, so we've been kind of documenting this since we started the podcast, right? About Disney, such a big mover in the entertainment business, especially in genre filmmaking with Marvel and what he does for Pixar and other things. So Bob Iger retiring was big news, right? And so during, I think Bob Chapek had taken over when we started our podcast. And man, that dude had one issue after another and was basically fired literally a couple months ago. Right back Iger into this whole or began around springtime and brought by Iger into this whole brought him back again to Disney. That
Really, really quick, is that rare to have a CEO and then, "Hey, here's the successor," and then successor comes in, does his thing, and they're like, "We made a mistake, get the hell out of here. Hey, old guy, come back, please."
very rare, man. Because think about it, all the stuff that goes into that, right? Old guy is not the same as the new guy. The new guy's not the same as the old guy. He's got to bring his people in. He's got to get a direction. He's trying to put strategy together. A lot of strategies, they take a while to kind of develop to see if it's going to be correct. And yeah, and the sad part is, let's be honest, Iger had pretty much an iron fist hold on Disney, right? He was there so long when he took over from Michael Eisner, who was the previous CEO, that he had time to kind of basically remake the board. So basically, the board was people that knew him. He kind of
Mhm.
so basically, the CEO reports to the board, right? Technically, of a public traded company. So the board is supposed to kind of put check on the CEO. That wasn't happening by Iger, right? He basically ran Disney like how he wanted to because he improved himself, right? With the Pixar acquisition and stuff with Marvel. So he was like, so you knew when a CEO is feeling good about himself when he has time to write a book. But you're
Yeah.
supposed to be running this multi-billion-dollar corporation, and you write a book. You call the book "The Ride of a Lifetime." So he was having fun, man, and he's promoting the book on his TV station because they own ABC. So he was
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Good Morning America. So anyway, the Bob Iger went out as a champion hero. So the big thing he had to do was just find someone to succeed him because he had talked about retiring at least 4 other times before. He had multiple successors that he eventually kicked out. But the goal was that when he brought in Bob Chapek, who came from the parks, that he was going to be kind of like almost like a yes man, a kind of operation, all the stuff Bob Iger didn't want to do, right? Spreadsheet stuff, all that stuff. And Bob Iger was going to run fun stuff, creative stuff, hanging with the actors. So when he retired, he thought that was going to be the play with Bob Chapek. But needless to say, that did not play out that way at all. And so if you read this article, CNBC did a great scathing article about this. It was almost 11,000 words, but it was very interesting how this all broke down. So a couple of things came out here. Mr. Benja, have you heard of 2 shower days?
That one stuck out to me. I was going through the articles like, 2 shower days? What's this about? And it's fascinating. I hadn't heard about it until now. This is awesome, though. What's a good this
He
2 shower day?
Bob Iger was so on his point, his office, he did not want to give up his office even after he retired because his office had a shower. And for him, he likes to go work out in the morning. This is the life of Riley. He likes to go work out in the morning, take a shower, spend his day running Disney. And a lot of times he would have to go to after parties or go to movie premieres. So he wanted to shower again at the end of the day. So he can put on his tux and go out into the night. And so he did not want to give up the office because that was the place, even though he was retired, mind you. So Bob Chapek was sitting basically in the corner. The CEO couldn't get access to the CEO office. That just shows you Iger picked a successor, but was he really gone? So that was one thing. And then the other thing I thought was kind of interesting was like literally it was like in the first month when they were supposed to go to an event, it was an incident on the plane where basically Chapek was going Bob Iger and Bob Iger, the old CEO said, "Hey, Chapek, why don't you present the CEO stuff for this event?" So Chapek was like, "Sure, okay, I'll do it." So they talked for a little bit and then Chapek took his little notes and went to the back of the plane. And then Iger was like, well, they're going to ask you a bunch of questions. Do you want to spend some more time talking to me? Chapek said, no, I'm good, son. I'm
Hmm.
just going to read my notes. I'm good. So, and that kind of kicked Iger off a little bit. That's because obviously they got different styles, right? Iger's more a talkative guy, but kind of like me. I like to talk to people and new ideas come out. But Chapek was more like, hey, give me a book, I'll read it and I'll sustain the knowledge. So that was like the beginning of the rift. So just basic stuff that common knowledge that people have about how people learn, how people interact with each other, you start to see this fracture. And then because of that, then you had this back and forth between them over the next 2 years, where slowly Iger was kind of eventually moving on, and Chapek started to take more and more control over Disney. And from the sidelines, Iger was basically calling crap, putting stuff out there. I wouldn't have handled this way. I would handle this way. And it was just like, wow, how can the new guy really effectively run a company when the old guy was just bad mouthing you so much? And what made it worse, the old guy selected you to run that company. So it was, so we kind of chronicled this throughout the thing,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's just hilarious how this all went down. I almost, and then it got so bad, Mr. Benja. So there was a lot of faux pas even on Chapek's side. I think he was definitely a little insecure about a lot of things. But the "Don't Say Gay" thing, I don't know if you remember that kind of flared up where
Don't
Disney
say it.
was
Yeah,
attacked. Yep, they were attacked from the right because they were going for the thing, and then when Chapek didn't say anything fast enough, the employees turned on him. We said, "Well, Disney, what are you supposed to do?" So
yeah.
he couldn't win that one,
I,
and
I
then they
I
would
I like this one right here from the article. Chafix, they got Chafik because of his business acumen and his integrity, not because of his interest in Hollywood and all that. Someone said Chapek has the outward corporate demeanor of a Midwestern businessman, or as one colleague jokingly put it, a tuna salad sandwich who sits in front of spreadsheets. What kind of snap is that on somebody? That is funny as heck. When that kind of stuff is going around from like colleagues, oh, that's common.
it just gets worse and worse from here, man. One of the highest ranking black executives at the time, Kareem Daniel, he was basically Chapek's right hand man. Chapek put him in charge of this new division. They had to kind of figure out like what stuff will go to streaming, which will go to theaters and all that stuff. And so Chapek took all that control out of the creatives and gave it to Kareem, who was basically a new guy, right? These executives and these actors and stuff. So now they had to go to this one guy, and Kareem was not part of that world at all. So he didn't know how to kind of deal with them. And so that kind of ruffled a lot of feathers at Disney of how Chapek was running that. And of course, Bob Iger from the sidelines was criticizing that. So it just became worse and worse, man, till when it kind of blew over was not too long after he was renewed in his contract, Bob Chapek, where they had to give out the quarterly numbers. And the CFO at the time, McCarthy, she mentioned to Chapek that the numbers were getting bad. They go, they're worse than we thought. And it was like that quarter when they were gonna not make their projections. Yeah. What saved Chapek for a while, I don't know if you remember, the stock started going up and up because everybody was praising Disney Plus when it kind of launched. Remember we talked about this. They had over 100, million users pretty quickly. And so Chapek was riding high. So how the strategy's working out. But then the numbers are showing that it was costly and they were going to lose way more money than they projected. Now, some would say he was blindsided. Some would say that he was told this in private. But McCarthy basically, in front of all the board members, said, hey, this is a dire situation and we need to do something fast. And Chapek didn't respond to it. And he basically was talking about the Disney spooky Halloween party at the Disney parks. And I think there was a tour of Disney, and during when executives got together, he was out petting a hippopotamus during the tour instead of sitting down figuring out what was wrong with the numbers.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it seemed like there was some shenanigans going on where people were kind of hiding information from him, and he wasn't fully aware of the depth of situations, and then he didn't feel like he could trust a lot of these people because Bob Iger had put the CFO was basically handpicked by Iger years ago. So anyway, it was one of those things. And then finally, he lost the trust of the board of his lieutenants, the guy who was over parts, Dana Walden's over all the entertainment. They basically all ganged up and just kind of went to the board and said, this guy, we have no confidence in Chapek. And he was basically fired. And at the same time, they were conspiring with Iger to get him to come back. So the article is fascinating on just like how these succession things kind of hand out and how they turn out over time.
Yeah,
And it shows you, man, this is just high school 101, man. They're doing some petty ish for
dude,
something that's dealing with a multi-billion dollar corporation.
dude, if someone said came up, "What's going on with this business? Where are these numbers at? We need to know X, Y, and Z." Well, your friend Bob is over there feeding the hippos. It's just that's my funny takeaway. That's all I got on this
Yeah,
one.
so anyway, so like I said, the takeaway from this is you're just showing you how these things got to evolve and how our team is really shaped by personalities because now that Bob Iger is back, now he's dealing with a host of problems. And we talked about the ad nauseum, stock down. They're facing pressure from cable. We had that big strike with Comcast, and basically cable was like, "We're not paying these carrier fees no more, damn it. We're not gonna pay you extra billions of dollars for ESPN anymore. You gotta stop all that." Then they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do with Hulu, which is gonna cost billions of dollars. They're
Yeah,
losing money because the streaming is getting costly. So it's a we talked about the parks are not making as much money anymore. So yeah, so now Bob Iger's in the mix. I think he's man, why not come back?
yeah. Well, I have a suggestion for a quick $10 billion for Disney.